Hello, my name is Dan Johnson, and welcome back to the Who podcast. This month, we're doing something very special. Alex Patterson, aka the Doctor Who Guide, is back. He's back with us.
Yay!
He's made a
Hello!
return. He's been asking to come back for months.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, right. Well, and you're excited because we're going to be talking about Doctor Who merchandise, of course,
Yes,
and
yes,
we're going
thank
to
you.
be talking about the best picks for Christmas and the best things to basically buy a Whovian. I think this is basically based on a video. I don't think you did one last year, but it might have been a few years ago because
Hmm.
you had short hair. Um,
Yes.
about things to buy a Hoovian. It's mostly inspired by that video, and I thought if I'm gonna rip it off, might as well get the person that created it with me. Um,
Yay.
and then I think we'll do a sort of review of the year and talk about some of the products that we had
Mm.
in 2021 as a bit of a end of year celebration, I suppose, because I think I've
Yeah.
talked a lot more about products and Big Finish products, especially
Hmm.
over the last
Hmm.
year on the podcast alone. So I think it's misfitting to do a an end of year wrap up on products. But next month there'll be something else as we go into another or
Woohoo.
third year of doing this podcast. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, there's an awful lot of people watching now, which is a bit frightening. Sometimes I have to
You
remind
got
myself
this.
that what I say is being watched by quite a few people, scarily.
Right? Right?
And without me going into a bit of stage fright, where should we start with
Where should we
here?
start indeed? Well, yeah, that I believe that Christmas what to get a Doctor Who fan for Christmas video was 2017, which
20.
explains why my hair is a lot longer now. But you're right, that came out gosh, 4 years ago now. But I do think the advice is still pretty relevant because I think a lot of people are they don't really know what to get Doctor Who fans. They know you like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
You've probably made that quite obvious to them. But if you're anything like me, people worry that you have everything already, which is not true, by the way. I
Well, I
have
mean,
quite a lot,
he says,
mostly,
well, his
mostly.
entire backdrop is
But I think
all of
you
that.
don't really need to have that much until people just assume that they're going to accidentally get you a double. So I think first step is to let your friends and family know well in advance of Christmas, like things that you aren't going to be buying yourself around this time of year, what's not missing in your collection. For instance, I have recently gotten into the Complete History collection, and they're a series of reference books that came out back in 2016, 2017, and that's a part of my collection that I have like 4 volumes of, and there's like 90 of them.
Wow.
So I tell my family, like now my dad, I think at every holiday is just like, oh, I'll get him one of these, and uh, there's a 4 in 90 chance that he'll get me one that I already have, and I let him know what that is. So if there's something new, an area of merchandise that maybe listen or watch this podcast and you think, oh, I've never gotten any of that. That's a great way to let people know, hey, I don't have any of this. Get me this. I don't know if you've sort of gotten anything recently that you're like expanding your collection into. I know you've got hooked on vinyls. That's not
Yes, so
necessarily
that's
new,
that's been
but
my thing recently. Yeah, I've got a bit of a reputation in my family of not in my family of buying a lot of vinyls recently, um,
nice.
and having them delivered because they're all delivered if they're from Big Finish by the DP company called DPD, and DPD
Hmm.
tend to arrive very early in the morning, which is nice of them. So about 9 o'clock in the
Wow.
morning, I've literally had to answer. I answered the ones for my Ninth Doctor uh,
Hmm.
vinyls in my pajamas after
Wow.
the
All
dog
right.
barked. And I thought, oh, she's just barking. It's the morning. It's what she does. There's somebody walking a dog outside because I live by a park. And
Right.
no, it was the DPD man. And I was like, hi, yeah, they're mine. Thank you.
That's
But
actually an interesting difference because here in the US, you only have to like answer the door for the postman if it's like something that somebody if he has paid extra to have you sign for it.
Really?
Otherwise, they just leave the mail in your mailbox or on your porch.
Now
And
we don't have. Well, I don't know how big is your mailbox because
it couldn't fit a vinyl. No,
yeah,
they'd leave that on the by the door or on the
yeah.
porch.
See, as Brits, we
Oh,
don't
that's huge.
seem. It is huge. I think is it 11? It's about the size of a pizza. It's about 11 inches. Um,
That's my favorite flavor of pizza right there.
the Ravager's pizza. But
Big Finish pizza.
it's about 11 inches. And we don't have. We got letterboxes, and let me tell you, when I bought
Yeah,
the most
they're
recent
not.
Doctor Who magazine, that didn't
Uh,
fit through the door. It was too thick. It was too wide to fit through the
oh
door
my gosh.
because the letterboxes that we have are dreadful. And I mean, they don't quite dare leave it outside.
But yes, and I mean, as far as like the other sort of ideas for Christmas, I think the
Oh yeah,
A
back on track. Yeah.
back. No, wait, it's a good difference to note. But I think that I always am very welcoming to like gift cards for like Amazon. I wish Big Finish would have gift cards
Yeah,
available for the website. I
I
think
wrote
that's
that
something
down.
you've
Yeah,
mentioned in videos about
in
like things that
bold.
Big Finish needs to do for the websites. But anything like that is a great idea because then the Doctor Who fan can just get what they want to get. But we'll talk about specific releases coming out in time. I think to arrive by Christmas because there are releases coming out in December, but whether they could arrive
Mm.
in time for that holiday or any of the others is
Yeah, for me, as a child, I think I would have done the whole like, oh, can I have this for Christmas kind of thing. But
mhm,
now, um, well, now I work like 30 something hours a week, so I don't
mhm.
have to limit myself as much as I used to. So with releases like collection box sets, which I think you were referring to earlier, just
Yeah,
then, I go straight to pre-ordering them like straight away because
right,
I know
right.
that I'd much rather know that it's mine on the day of release when it arrives
Mhm,
than
mhm.
having to wait till Christmas because then if I find out that I don't
Oh, exactly.
actually have it as an item, um,
Right.
then then I'm kind of stuck, aren't I? 'Cause,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's why I don't like doing any of that. But I think figures are a good thing to do as presents because a lot of the time I will buy things early. So like last year I bought the Mars Morales game. Then it's not Doctor Who related, but still. But I bought
Mhm,
that game, and then my uncle gives us about £20 to buy something because
mhm.
as adults, or myself now as an adult, I don't necessarily want the things that they'd buy me as a child.
Mhm.
Now it's all about like car insurance and buying a the head for the back of my car. My car doesn't have any headrests, so I had to buy a
Oh,
headrest.
wow.
So I bought
Yeah.
a headrest for my car, but I've only got one, and I need a second one. And I think there might be a legal obligation to have them, and I only have
Right.
one because I bought it. It arrived the other day. Um, but that kind of stuff is more where I go now. But with Doctor Who releases, it's like I'm ordering it now. Like with steelbooks and all that
Right.
kind of stuff,
Right.
I'm ordering it
A
now. But I
lot
do
of
think that it's a bit of a
limited
thing.
stuff. You have to get the limited stuff as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
Um,
So otherwise
so
you miss
I
it, don't
really
you?
think that's off the table as far as things you could ask other people for,
Yeah, and also because of
especially
how
because
expensive they are. If you're
season
trying to get them second
17's
hand.
right. Season 17 is coming out on December 20th anyway, so it's gonna be like
Yes.
that. That would be last minute if you're hoping to get that
But
for.
then again, with things like Amazon, they will. Well, I don't know about you because you would have to probably import it, so it probably take you.
Yeah,
You won't be getting yours till I presume that you've ordered it.
early January,
Yeah,
January
yeah.
7th to 11th, something like that.
That's from having it shipped
That's
over
yeah,
to you? Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
that's quite quick compared to Christmas.
Yeah,
I
we'll see
think.
if that's when it actually arrives. But that's
Like
a
that,
predicted date.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's only like 2 weeks after Christmas, and there's New
yeah.
Year in that, and
Oh,
you don't get
exactly.
posted on New Year. So, whew, um, I mean, that's kind of like a dead week, isn't it? Really, that week in between Christmas and New Year, not a lot of work happens between then. Um, But the but the I would never go with that kind of product for Christmas for me though, because one, I feel like it's just too much money to ask of people and too much
Oh
research,
yes.
I suppose.
Oh yes.
Because it's also how this kind of new model that they've got with Doctor Who merchandise works and how it works for Christmas. Because
Mm,
it doesn't simply like you if you want something, you have to pre-order it. Then it's you can't wait a month or two for like
right.
you know, if you want to buy an Xbox, I mean, you still can't buy a PS4 or an Xbox, but if you wanted to PS5, but if you wanted to get one of them, you could just ask for it for Christmas because it's still going to be in stock then.
Right. Right.
In fact, you know, I always think that when games are normally released, it's like the beta. They release it, then the game is broken, then they fix the game, and by Christmas the game's fixed and it is playable. That tends to be my rule with games like Call of Duty because they just I haven't bought a Call of Duty in 2 years, but I always think that that's always the way I've done it with that kind of stuff because I know that that's going to be in stock for many years to come. But
Yeah.
with steelbooks and stuff like that, I know that it won't be. Like I absolutely bricked it when I realized that the Series 13 steelbook was an Amazon exclusive after Series
Oh
9 was an
no.
Amazon exclusive. And I thought, I
Yeah.
better order this quickly and
Yeah.
fast because if I don't, I might end up missing it. And recently I've been ordering things closer to their release date because I don't want to have a whole bunch of pre-orders in or have too many pre-orders in so that they just keep coming through and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that kind of stuff. I didn't want to forget about them.
Right. Right. Now
Like
there is
looking out
the
for that.
I really keep careful track, like you're saying, of pre-orders and when they're coming out, so that A, I'm prepared for when they do come out.
Yeah,
But I do kind of tend to pre-order things if I know I'm going to be able to afford it. I will pre-order them pretty quick,
yeah,
as soon as I know. A, because if it's limited, it might run out. But B, even if it's not limited, you get the pre-order price guarantee with Amazon. So if you've pre-ordered something and it goes down in price, you'll get that new lowest price. And sometimes the price will fluctuate and it'll go down by a couple of quid for a day and then go back up, and you'll have secured that new lowest price. So that's why I like to pre-order something. Say I've had Evil of the Daleks, which is coming out. Uh, Technically came out today. It should arrive at the day of recording. It has come out the exact day that the UK has gotten Galaxy 4 on Steelbook and
we
Blu-ray
got
and
it Monday, I think.
DVD. But that I had on pre-order for a while, and I got the best price as a result of that. So
I think I've never seen that myself because I've never seen. But I've kind of stopped using Amazon recently because I realized that their delivery is just very hectic and won't
mm,
necessarily, like on the day of release, I've had things arrive at like 5 o'clock, and it's like I've been waiting for this all day, and it's just arrived now. When if I bought it
yeah,
through HMV, it will arrive early, like my Galaxy 4 one did, or it will arrive.
nice.
I mean, I
Yes,
couldn't use it because I was at work, but I knew it
yeah,
was here, and it arrived on the Saturday. Um, and then I knew that once it was dispatched, it was good. It was golden. It was basically in my hand.
right,
But then
right.
with Amazon, you're never quite sure because they don't tend to dispatch it till the day it's
Yeah. See, there's
day
no
it's
there's no
coming
HMV
to you.
in the US, so I'm
Yeah,
stuck with Amazon. But I would go for that because I think I've seen HMV arrive incredibly early for people, and also possibly I think it's Zavi is the other one, but
yes, but
it
I mean, it has
tends to
worked for
fluctuate.
Amazon customers as well. They've also had it arrive early, but
Mm,
it's just a bit of luck, really. I just find that with HMV, I'm dealing with someone that takes pride in dealing with DVDs and stuff
that's
and stuff
nice.
like this,
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
somebody that I'm Amazon and I've got every single product in the world basically. And
exactly,
I just feel
exactly.
like with that I'm going to get a lot more. I mean, Amazon makes too much money to care about one
Yep,
product
yep.
going wrong. So that's why I tend to go with the smaller companies.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because one thing that I would implement with as like a Christmas gift, if you're okay with this, because what we'll sometimes do is if say an item doesn't come in time for Christmas, what we'll do is just give a nice little card, fancy envelope, or maybe even wrap something else,
Yeah.
a candy bar in a box and attach a note to it with a picture of the item saying this will arrive by such and such a date.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
like that. That's
delayed and
sweet.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so what you can do with some Hoovians is go, hey, I've ordered this for you. It's a pre-order, and what that allows them to do is then, if they want to, cancel their pre-order, and they know that you've now got it for them. It's going to arrive for them, and they now have saved that money on that pre-order. So if it's something that's like, say, coming out January, February or something, that is an option to, if you're already, say, last minute, you're not going to be able to get them you know in time for Christmas. That's an option that we've used in our family before. Just, here's a card, this will arrive for you at such and such a date.
Yeah. Well,
um,
if you finish talking about I presume you're talking mostly about steelbooks and that kind of releases.
mhm.
Um, a release that I get, or items that I get quite a lot of for Christmas is autographs because
Nice.
it's I think it's just a little bit more special, I suppose, than having um it's a little bit more special than having like the steelbook because I'm less likely to go actively seeking out autographs than I am to seek out um steelbooks.
Right.
Right, I kind of
Yeah.
lost my train of thought in the middle of that. But the David Tennant one that's kind of over by my right side. I'm not
Oh,
quite sure how the angles
yeah.
work. There. That
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a I think it might have been a birthday, but same thing.
Hmm.
Birthday, Christmas, and then that was a Christmas gift, and that kind of stuff is the stuff that I don't really focus on. So I think that the general rule is framed items are cool items to get. I think. What would you say
Yeah,
to that?
absolutely. I think it's a great suggestion. I got for, I think it was my birthday, a Tom Baker photograph from his website, and you could have like a little dedication thing, and it was a lovely gift. It was great
Yeah.
because, especially in the U.S., I don't know if Tom Baker's ever going to do a U.S. appearance at a convention, ever again. So it's like, this is kind of like, for now, the closest thing that, short of traveling to the UK, would be an experience of getting an autograph in person. And I think that's absolutely a great idea. I'm just going to go grab a gift that is along those lines you said, of a framed item.
Yes, I
This was a
think I
present.
know what you're talking about. Because I was going to mention it, unless it's something else.
I, I think it might be something else. So my sister wanted to get me a gift this year, and
Oh,
probably, I don't
right.
know, if when this might be an exclusive for the podcast audience,
Really?
because I don't know if this might come out earlier than this video, or might not. I don't know. We'll see. But this was a custom gift for me that my sister got. It is a framed, custom etched, laser etched piece of wood that has the 11th Doctor carved against the TARDIS. And it says, "We're all stories in the end, just make it a good one, eh?" And it says, "The Doctor Who Guide, EST, August 2016." And it's just the most lovely custom. It was from Etsy. And it's sort of like my own little like YouTube award, but it's
Yeah,
better because it's from my sister. And I gotta say, I cried when I saw this. I was just so moved by it. Like,
that
it was a
is cool.
celebration of five years on the channel, and so something like that on Etsy or any site that does like custom Doctor Who stuff. That's
Yes,
also, like you were saying, framed items are a great way to
that's
go.
something I was going to mention, Etsy, because I mean, there's a lot of very talented people on there creating very cool things and one-off items as well. Because I think the reason I like the autographs is because they hold some speciality,
Mm,
like
yeah,
that item
exactly.
does. Um,
Right,
because I
right.
think that those tend to be the cooler ones than you know, uh, you know,
It's kind of one of a kind,
yeah.
It's unique.
It's yeah. And I always actually love those things. I just think they're brilliant. Because didn't you have something quite similar? I don't know. I might be mistaken slightly. But don't you have something else carved into a piece of wood? Is that
Yes,
yeah? So there's
yes.
like
It was
a series
it.
of
It's five of the
doctors. Yeah,
doctors. It's got I think the War Doctor, the Ninth Doctor, 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors, because those were the ones that were out at the time. And some friends got that for all of us as like a birthday gift, and it was like this guy. They just showed him the reference photos, and he was able to draw pencil on wood, just these incredible reproductions of all the Doctors, and they then got it like I don't know what the term is,
Lin
glazed or
laser
it's
cut, I
not
guess.
glazed like a donut, but
Yeah,
they got it you know sealed up so that the
etched,
pencil wouldn't smudge.
etched.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
etched.
that was lovely too. That was
No,
something
that
that's
yeah,
one of a kind.
similar thing, isn't it? Mm.
I think that T-shirts are always a good bet for me. There was a time where I got
Really?
nothing for Christmas but Doctor Who T-shirts, and I think I made a skit about it. But now I'm kind of running out of new Doctor Who T-shirts, so I love getting Doctor Who T-shirts. And if you get like a crossover one or one that you think they've never worn, it's you've got again more of a chance of getting them a T-shirt they haven't gotten before if you
Mm.
do a bit of digging and stuff. Because I know I tend to get any sort of DVD or book merchandise before I would get necessarily a new T-shirt or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. See, I used to have a lot of Doctor Who. Well, I still do in my cupboard because I haven't really grown much. Um, but there was a time when I used to wear a lot of them. And
Hmm.
I kind of just grew out of it, I guess. I just started wearing different clothes. Um, I think also because I've always felt like a lot of the ones that were officially released, like the ones that I saw being sold, I never particularly liked that much. Um, to want to wear it, but yeah, I mean that's if you're into that kind of stuff, and that's cool. I mean, you're currently wearing a Christmas jumper, so
Yes,
you
yes.
know, I noticed it earlier when you were talking. I thought he is actually wearing a Christmas jumper. I mean, that's dedication. I'm not. I'm too warm. Um,
Oh, that must be nice. It's cold right now, so
it is cold. It is of course very cold, but it's the lights and stuff like that.
yeah.
I don't tend to wear jumpers when I'm
I've
filming things.
actually recently, by the time this comes out, it will have happened on the channel. But I recently uh, a Doctor Who brand called Lavarzi. They make Doctor Who hats, scarves, sweaters, and they reached out and they hired me to make a couple of videos for their own website to use in their marketing. And they sent me
Really?
a, a scarf and a hat, and for free so that I could do the videos. But then also there's a giveaway that they gave me a scarf to do for the channel, which is really exciting too. So um, that will that will be happening, but might be over by the time
Yeah,
this comes
most
out.
of them
But
out, yes.
they make some nice. I've been wearing their scarf and hat on our like we go for like 3 mile walks, my dad and I each night, and it gets like really cold. So I'm always glad to have a nice scarf or hat. And so I think that especially wintertime, and if I don't know what winter's like for the UK, but if it's anything like the US, then winter lasts a lot longer than just Christmas. It's not like it would
Yeah.
be nice if it was just Christmas is over, bring on the spring. But no, there's several more months of cold. So any sort of Doctor Who sweater or hat or gloves or stuff like that, I think is a great idea as well. Um, and it's also useful as well as just fun to wear as a Doctor Who fan.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of of scarves to be honest, because I haven't got a fourth doctor scarf, and something like or like a fez or something like that. I think would be a cool thing.
Yeah,
I mentioned the other day, or maybe a few weeks ago now, to someone about how I wear. Well, I don't. There's like a night going on where I work basically. And the idea is that we all dress like it's the 1930s, I think, 1920s
okay,
maybe. Um, and I was like, I'll wear a bow tie, I'll like go all out with, I was
nice.
say suspenders, but that's right. With the bow ties
Hmm.
and all that. And I was like, I don't actually have any bow ties. How dare I call myself a
Oh
Doctor Who
yeah.
fan without any bow ties or a fez or anything? Um,
Oh, I have a
or any
very
green
old
jacket.
fez. I have a very old fez, but Yeah,
think
no.
I think the only Fez that I've had is one that came in the old Doctor Who Adventures magazines that were
Oh
like
my.
that I think is probably crushed somewhere. I think it might be upstairs, in fact, but I think there might be a crushed Fez upstairs.
Blast from the past, Doctor
Made
Who
of
Adventures.
made of felt, maybe made of felt. That might be right.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
and it was kind of like bobbly as well. You know, because of how they were made.
Right.
It was a bit bobbly.
I wish there were more like Doctor Who like snacks that were like available, like a sort of officially licensed or something, because there are Jelly Babies, and here in the
Yeah,
US you have to order Jelly Babies from like Amazon or something. So I always love. I think one of my subscribers, Gary Contois, just sent with. He also sent me a steelbook, which was lovely, but he sent a bag of Jelly Babies as
most
well for the
importantly, jelly
celebration.
babies.
Jelly Babies, yeah. And it's always exciting because they're not a candy that's like down at the corner store or something. It's something very special. So something like that, jammy Dodgers. If it's edible, the Doctor Who fan's not going to mind getting a double. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's going to be gone in a
More
short
jelly
amount of
babies.
time. So I'm always a fan. I think there was a cookie cutter set that came out this year that was Doctor Who related, but obviously that's not ready-made cookies as I would like. But
Shame. Don't produce cookies at like an alarming rate. But yeah, that would have been one hell of an item. Um, but I don't know what you'd put on a. I think I've seen um cookie cutters or just cutters before.
Mhm.
I think there's like TARDIS ones. I think there's a Weeping Angel and stuff like that. But they are weird items. To be honest. They
Yeah.
like that. I always feel like with some things, and you won't remember this, but back in 2007, it's like yogurt, like I don't know what the product's called, Fusies, something like that, that are like just strips of yogurt, and then they have
Uh-huh.
characters on the front. And
Yeah.
2007, there was Doctor Who ones. There were Doctor Who ones with like scarecrows on, the scarecrow
Seriously.
and
Yep.
Martha, and there was a Doctor one. And each day before I go to school, as in what year? I was born in 2002, so that would mean that I was excellent maths, 6 or coming up to 6. Um,
Oh my
and
gosh. You're one of those 21st century kids.
yeah, just made it into the
You're
21st
making me
century.
feel old. I didn't make the cutoff.
You were
97.
millennial, weren't you? Because
97, yeah.
97, yeah, millennials. Yes, I was just a bit later. I mean, would have really loved to have been born at a little bit earlier because that would have meant that I would have grown up more with Doctor Who when it came back.
Right,
Because I
right.
feel like when I was 4 and the show came back, or 3 actually, when I was 3 and the show came back, and I started watching it for whatever reason. Even
Yeah.
like there was some I just didn't watch because I was too scared of them, like the Are You My Mummy episodes.
Oh yeah.
Obviously
Oh
didn't
yeah.
watch them because they were so terrifying. And I remember in series 2, the Satan Pit, well, the Impossible
Hmm.
Planet, the Satan Pit, were just absolutely too terrifying for me to watch because of the devil imagery and stuff like that. Just
Hmm.
nah. And the Oods as well, absolutely horrendous. But
Oh yeah.
I mean, nowadays I can watch it easily.
Hmm.
Even Waters of Mars was probably the last time I was really, really scared of Doctor Who. But I think
Hmm.
even adults were probably scared of Waters of Mars because
Oh
Mars is
yeah.
so frightening.
Ugh. Oh
Oh,
my
it's
gosh,
so
yeah.
scary. That shot when he's not looking at you. He's got his back to
Yeah.
you, and then the
Just
guy
shaking.
spins round like that. That is the most terrifying. Every time that I watch that episode, and I
Jump.
watch it probably about once a year, if not more, I have to literally move away from the TV because otherwise I'll absolutely brick it. So,
It's absolutely behind the sofa.
took the sound
Yeah.
down and all because of how scary it is. Um,
It's terrifying. I mean, water always wins. How terrifying. You
yeah,
know?
but with these yogurts, you used to just sort of like suck the life out of them. Like you
Yep.
used to
Yep.
sort of just go, and then they were gone. That was
Yeah.
the end of the 10th Doctor. As
Oh, that's
like a 3-year-old,
incredible.
as a young child, just eating.
Right.
Um, but there are pieces of merchandise where I don't think Doctor Who needs to fit into
Yeah.
necessarily, but does. So I think
Right.
that cookie cutters are one of those things. Um,
Yes, yes. There is a Doctor Who advent calendar that came out recently, and
hmm,
it is something like £100.
it's 110, I believe. Oh, it was 100,
That
maybe 110
that
now.
I don't know what typically advent calendars run.
Not that much.
That seemed expensive.
50 pounds is probably what you
It
pay for a
also
really
it
cool one.
also it boggles my mind because advent calendars are kind of the things that you have to either you have to buy yourself. Like you can't buy somebody an advent calendar
Well,
because it's supposed to be a countdown to the start of Christmas. So you either have to save it for a year or buy it for yourself. So that's a
well,
present
you
that
early Christmas presents.
early Christmas presents,
If you have
absolutely,
a birthday on the
absolutely.
31st of or even better, if you have a birthday on the 1st of December, then
There you go. There
you're
you go.
in.
There's
That's
nothing
it.
wrong with an early
You've got that
Christmas present.
niche covered.
If you've got that, that would be a great idea. But
Yeah,
you're
but
right. That you kind of have to do it that way, or I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
imagine getting it on Christmas Day. You're like, I guess I'm opening it
Right.
all up now.
But then
That would be
again,
what I would be tempted to do.
all the anticipation is gone, and you can just open them all.
Exactly. That's
So,
that's not
you know,
bad.
you get 24, 25, 24 gifts, I think.
20. Yeah.
So you get 24 gifts, and some of them are like almost like official merchandise, like pin
Oh
badges and
yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Pin
can't complain,
badges.
but 100 plus quid? I mean, when it first came out, like when it was announced, I did talk
Yeah.
about it on here and how it was a
Right.
ridiculous price. And we
It
talked
looks
about
nice. I
expensive
just
merchandise, but
it's just the sort of thing where it's like I'm sure that if I could afford it and open it up myself, I could start to justify it. But it's like, I'm just
yeah,
sad I
yeah,
can't get
because I
it.
would have done that as well. As I would have gone through each day, I'd have gone, "Oh, it's probably about worth £5 that one,"
Right, right.
then each day counted up what things
You've
would be
got out
worth.
your calculator, trying to see if you won or lost.
So those pin badges are about £5
six
each, and
six
then
pounds. Yeah, exactly. The pin badges are actually a nice thing,
yeah,
and
I
I
think they
I
are cool.
I think that like getting it one of those gift sets for Christmas would be quite nice. I mean, I that's the kind of thing I don't tend to buy it at all. So that would be a safe bet for me. And so I think that's kind of thing you kind of have to get a feel for what the Doctor Who fan that you're trying to shop for has in their collection and what they
Yeah,
don't have.
and also
I
what they
think my
like.
brothers,
It's
right,
like it's like for me, like I said earlier, I probably wouldn't want a Doctor Who T-shirt, but you would.
right,
I mean,
right. I mean,
so
I'd want anything Doctor Who. It's a problem, but you're
I
right.
think
You're right though.
it'd be the fear of not using it that would annoy me about the T-shirt. I like because I
Right.
wouldn't know what situations to wear it because I couldn't wear it to the pub, could I, without being ridiculed.
Oh
So
no! Oh wow!
you
I,
know,
I, well, I suppose. See here, nobody knows what Doctor Who is. So I've actually had a couple people. I have this. It was from Hot Topic, and a friend got it for me, and it's the TARDIS, and it's multicolored, and got kind of a rainbow color design, and that shirt. Everybody comments on it, like even non-Doctor Who fans. But I've had like people walk down the street and be like, "Nice Doctor Who shirt," and that never happens in the US. Like I've worn a Doctor Who. There was like 5 or 6 years where I wore the Doctor Who scarf like every single day, summer, winter. Like I wore it all the time. Nobody commented. Almost nobody commented on it. But that shirt gets comments from Doctor Who fans, and I'm like, okay, awesome, that's great. But I have a Scooby Doo Doctor Who shirt that is so old, and it's got holes in it now, and it's like I can't wear it, but I love it. So it's like I do wear Doctor Who t-shirts, but that's all I have. So
yeah, my
that's my wardrobe.
friend at sixth form wore 13th Doctor's top, so you could basically get that T-shirt with the
Yep,
line across it.
yep,
She wore that quite often to school, and
yeah,
oh, it was so sweet. And she used to wear that, and a
right,
lot of people didn't understand what she was wearing, but me and my friend Will and
right.
those that understood Doctor Who knew exactly what she was wearing from the second she
Yes.
walked in the door. Um, so I suppose that it's that kind of thing. But
Yeah, my sister had one of those that I think it was the one it wasn't like the cosplay one, like I think you're talking about, where it's just it had also the silhouette of the 13th Doctor.
Oh
But she
yeah,
wore
yeah,
that
cosplay
so
one.
much that it like the color faded
Yeah.
almost entirely. So it was just like a black T-shirt by the end of it. But she loved that as well.
Mm.
So are like sonic screwdrivers something that you have all of them, or is that something that
Well,
you
I
think
don't
would
have
be?
all of them, but I think they're ridiculously expensive.
This is
I'm
true. This is
I'm
true.
trying to get. I used to have it as a child, and it's really been bugging me recently. Is the Series 5 one?
Okay.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
it used to flip out because I don't know
Yes.
if you can see it, but I can just see it in the corner of my screen. There is a little sonic screwdriver in the just by the shelf side.
Oh
There's
yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
standing on a grouped. There is a little sonic screwdriver on that, and that's the 12
That's
Doctors one.
amazing.
That's Series 8 one.
Right.
But I
Right.
used to have Matt Smith's, and I broke it. I hate to say I don't know
Oh,
how I broke it, but it just
oh
bits fell off.
no.
The little pincers at the top came off, and
Oh my
the
gosh.
batteries died, and I don't know what happened to it. It's probably in the loft somewhere, but oh, I've binned it. But I
I
really,
lost mine. I lost mine. I had one. It was lovely. It had a nice weight to it. It wasn't like
yeah,
it wasn't entirely plastic, which was nice, and
yeah.
I lost it. I don't know where it ended up, but
I lost my my 10th Doctor one, and you see how much they're so expensive now, like 30,
I
40
have
quid. Maybe that's
not.
something for
Oh
my
my
Christmas list
gosh.
this year. Like, oh yeah,
Right.
just yeah,
Right.
those Sonics. Just yeah, I'd love to be able to have that. I have had Sonics before for Christmas because
I must say you've
yeah.
collected them all, but the Big Finish vinyls for me, like I have none of them.
Oh
So
yeah,
like
there's so
that's
many I would love
there's
to
so many,
have.
right?
I'd
Right?
love
Oh, I mean,
I'd love to have
I was
spare
gonna say Spare
parts.
Parts, Chimes of
Chimes of
Midnight,
midnight.
obviously at the
Just
top,
oh yeah,
top
just
tier.
I'd love to have them, but I just don't. It's such a shame. But I am absolutely in love with the vinyls I have, and I imagine that there will be some vinyls in my birthday. I don't do
I
birthday
was gonna say,
I don't do Christmas hauls or anything because I tend to feel like I don't want to be. I don't. I try to be very careful of how uh, possessive, not possessive. Possessive the right word? No. How uh, itemistic. That
hmm,
didn't sound right. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
how much I'm focusing on the items and not just Christmas in general.
mm,
Um,
hmm,
so I
yeah,
tend not to do that kind of stuff because then it does become a game of I have this and you don't. Um,
yeah.
but so I don't do that. But I'm absolutely love the vinyls, and I hope to get a few more. I don't know whether I mean you mentioned Big Finish and that kind of stuff. I
Hmm.
think that with that, what I might do is I will sort of ask. I mean, because of my age, basically, and I'm
Hmm.
sure you have the same because you're older than me. Is that as you get older, you end up with more. You end up with less items and probably less money than you would when you were like one. Like my little
Yeah,
cousin on her first Christmas, and she
yeah,
was 6 months old, had an entire room of presents. She didn't know what was going. Like her entire
yeah.
living room was full, and
Hmm.
because everyone just kept buying her things. Like apparently, like family members were showing up and just adding to the pile of stuff,
Oh my
and
gosh, it's amazing.
it just got bigger and bigger. And she was 6 months
Yeah.
old, and apparently they were up at like 6 o'clock in the morning because children wake early, and
Hmm.
they arrived late to Christmas lunch because they had so many presents to unwrap. And the poor child, who was here, who is what, 6 now, yeah, it's 6, nearly 7, on her way to 7. Um, she obviously doesn't remember that it's Christmas, and as she's got older, as they say,
Right.
every year something that my family always say to me is that each year, what you know, you've got to remember that each year as you get older, you get harder to buy for, and each year your family changes. You know, um, they have children or you lose relatives, and especially when my nana died, there was a whole thing because we were quite young about
Mm.
how this year would be different because my nana used to
Yeah.
buy like my nana used to love Christmas. She would buy
Mm.
everything. Like she got boxing gloves. Like my mum used to like say, well, he doesn't need this. He doesn't need more clothes. But she's like, I'm getting him more clothes when he needs them. He'll grow into
Yeah.
them, kind of stuff. So, um, that kind of thing. Um,
Right. It
it
changes
was a thing
as
within
time
my
goes
family.
by.
So you end up
Yeah.
with more money as you get older. Um, and with that, like birthdays, most of the time I ask for money because then I can buy driving lessons and I can buy my car and stuff like
Right.
that. I can do that over. I can kind of spread out my expenses so that
Right.
I can pay for my expenses so that I can buy more Big Finish.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Basically,
Isn't that right?
that's
Yeah.
probably how I'm going to do it this year.
Isn't it a
Is
good thing we don't have houses ourselves yet? Because it'd be like,
I
oh,
know. Well,
second mortgage,
the
Big
idea
Finish.
that
Let's
I
go
could have a
for it. Let's
house
refinance.
scares me. Like, I would never
Oh,
move into a house by myself because I'm too paranoid for that. Um, like yesterday, I think it was Saturday night. I was still up, and I heard like a knock. It could have been anything. It could have been something falling
oh,
over, and I immediately
yeah.
went, "Flipping hell, the burglars are here!" Right? Okay. Yeah,
Ah!
very polite burglars that knock on your
Take
door before
anything,
they
just
come
leave
in.
the vinyls. Leave the vinyls.
Just
Take anything
take the
else.
sister, leave the vinyl. Um, like,
Oh no.
yeah, and like I dread to think what I'm going to be like when I have my own house. I have lots of very weird things now. Like if I know the house is going to be empty, I will put my laptop away. Like I
Mm.
used to have a thing when I was younger about putting my laptop under my bed as a way to hide it during the day, just because of
Oh
how,
wow.
just because of a bit paranoid about that kind of stuff. And with that, I dread to think when we like our house and actually, and those
Yeah.
expenses, and I think that I'd probably have a girlfriend at that time and be having a house with somebody because otherwise
Hmm.
I wouldn't be able to
Right.
afford it,
Yeah.
as
Oh yeah.
housing prices and all that. But
Oof.
I dread to think that that poor woman is going to have an awful lot of Doctor Who merchandise in the house. I mean, I have threatened to. I mean, if this is what I do with a room, what am I going to do with a house?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
vinyls everywhere. I've got a giant canvas of David Tennant that I've put in the middle of the room. You know,
Cardboard cutouts of every Doctor Who character.
be
Just
careful. That's Tom Baker's seat, kind of stuff. Like it's just
yeah.
he's sitting on the settee. Like just ridiculous things that I'll get
There's a
up to.
TV in every room playing different Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have
Oh
charts
my
and
gosh.
all types of stuff. Studio rooms. This my poor girlfriend will have nothing. Like this will be the only thing that would be. She'll really struggle to find things for me for Christmas. That's for sure. Uh,
Yeah,
but then again,
and
Etsy. I'm sure it will evolve and we'll get
right,
more
right,
items
and
in that
I
thing.
think for YouTubers like you and I, there's always an opportunity to ask for equipment or money towards equipment.
Yeah.
Um, I think yeah, so that's absolutely something because there's always either something that needs upgrading or something that should be upgraded
Yeah.
before it gets broken.
But funny you say that because this year I'm planning to get a new laptop because I've had this for a good few years now, and
Hmm.
what I'm doing is a lot more complicated than what it used to be.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm running out of storage, basically. I'm running out of storage, and I'm running out of the capacity to run a lot of the stuff I want to run. So,
yeah.
I want to get a new laptop, and last year I got a new camera because the one I was using before had no mic plug-in. Like it was,
What camera do you have now?
I have a Canon
Nice.
uh 600D. Which is in the
Okay.
corner. I don't know. It's attached to some wire of some sort. Canon 600D is my new camera,
Nice.
and I bought this for Christmas last year. And it's got detachable lenses, and I filmed. I know the difference between the newest animation that I did that got
Hmm.
released in September and the older ones are huge just because I've got a new camera.
Right.
Just because the way it just looks so much better with the new one. The focus is so much stronger. But anyway, I've got slightly sorry, but yeah, equipment is a good thing for as well. And I
Hmm.
think that I find that a lot of people that are interested in Doctor Who do have some kind of connection
Ooh,
to
I've
music
just had
around it.
I've just had an idea because we were talking about this before. and I know it's not necessarily something you would think would be a fun gift for a Doctor Who fan,
Hmm.
but shelves, shelves. If you
Yes,
want like
more shelf space.
more shelf space, and it's it's not a cheap gift, but it's something that like I'm always. I mean, as you can see, I'm always running out of,
Yeah,
and to have
very much
to
so.
have something like that, I think would actually be really exciting because I think you're right. There are expenses that you don't shell out money for that you necessarily earn because you're like, that's too much of an expense or something. But around the holidays, I think is a chance to spring for
To
things
yeah, to reflect
that
and
you
to
otherwise
change.
wouldn't go for.
Yeah,
And I recently replaced my laptop because it was it's dying. And I'll be paying it off for the next couple of months. But I got a new one. It actually arrived and started making like loud blasts of static every time a
yeah, I
noise
can
would
hear. I can
play.
hear a slight noise in it. Is that the computer that I can
This is
hear?
the older computer that I'm
Oh, it
on now
mustn't be.
because
But
I had to send
something else.
the new one back, and I've got a replacement coming. But yeah, this one it is 6 7 years old, so it's
Hmm.
like ancient, and it's 9 pounds. It weighs 9 pounds, which is hefty for a laptop, and like you're saying, it's running out of space and stuff. So yeah, equipment is a great thing, and having the space to make your videos on is really important. So
Yeah, I think that if you're a Doctor Who fan, I don't think that there are many people that I know that are just. I was going to say just Doctor Who fans. Like you have to be just one thing, and that's all you can
it's
be.
okay to just be a Doctor Who fan. Let's
But
be clear.
I find that a lot of people have got interests elsewhere in music or in film
Right.
or in YouTube or in
I think
podcasts.
it's
There's
kind of a
something in there.
natural progression of whether you're a fan of anything to be like, okay, I really enjoy watching this, and then being fascinated whether it's behind the scenes or just how something is made. And I think that's inspired a lot of Doctor Who. A lot of Doctor Who fans have become inspired to go into the industry in
Yeah,
some way, or to make your own videos, to make your own films, edit your own stuff. And so I think I like maybe it's just because we're in the YouTube Doctor Who world, but it does seem like everybody I know either has a YouTube channel or enjoys that back end of creation and content creation and stuff. So
like the amount of people that are very willing to help me out on an audio series, for example, is huge. Like I have asked everyone that I've asked has said yes,
yeah,
and I think
that's so
that
great.
it's not a coincidence. It's like, well, I mean, some people could have said no, but I don't think it's a
Yeah.
coincidence that the two kind of connect. That everyone is trying to replicate Doctor Who, if that makes sense. Like, I'm
Right.
definitely trying to
Yeah.
replicate the feeling that I had watching Doctor Who. Um,
Absolutely.
with the stuff I make, and
Yeah.
it's just like what you'd want to see on screen, I guess. And I think that kind of comes from being invested in a show like Doctor Who for so long. But
Absolutely.
no, that's not necessarily just something that you can get from Doctor Who. But I think that
hmm
Doctor Who is probably the most creative, one of the most creative shows you can get.
Absolutely,
Um,
because it exposes you to all sorts of genres too, which is not typical of a show. But like you're saying, being fans for a while, we I think we're at a place with Doctor Who where, as far as merchandise goes, yes, there's a lot of stuff that can make it hard for Christmas shopping and Christmas ideas, but if you look at like everything that comes out each month, I think even if you do put most of your paycheck towards Doctor Who, it you can't keep up with all of it. There's just so much to
yeah,
keep track of. So I
you have to
think
pick
that
your niche,
we're
really, don't you?
yeah. So like you focus on Big Finish a lot right now and making sure you keep up with the latest steelbooks. I would love to keep up with Big Finish, but I do the downloads and only the ones that look the most exciting because I'm focusing on DVDs and Blu-rays, right? So I think it depends on the fan and what they're focusing on. But I mean, each month, because I've been doing these monthly recaps on the channel of what's coming out that month for Doctor Who merchandise, and I'm always just my mind is blown every month about
Yeah.
with how much stuff is coming out. And also I think Forbidden Planet exclusives, I think the site of Forbidden Planet,
Yes.
they have a lot of exclusive merchandise that comes out that I don't think a lot of people
I
necessarily
had no idea.
collect as presents, because it's either like ranges of clothing and T-shirts, but they also have a lot of mugs. They've got coasters and stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean, our family just moved, and one thing that we don't have in this house is coasters. So I'm like, I would like to get some Doctor Who coasters, but I really would just feel like they were collector's items and not want to use them, you know? So it's like, it's that sort of thing. But I think
Yeah.
if you check out Forbidden Planet exclusives, that would be a
Mm.
good
So
place
yeah,
to get some ideas.
I think we're wrapping up the Christmas part then of this video. Any final words on it? I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
I think to just asking for ideas that, like, 3 or 4 things from
Yeah, I
the
don't think
Doctor Who
that you
fan.
should go in blind with buying
Don't.
a thing.
Right.
So especially someone
Right.
like us that does collect a lot of the stuff, like is
Hmm.
very involved in it. I think that, and also I think you've got to be careful because you have the niches, and if you pick something that's not within that niche, I think that will kind of put them off it, if that makes sense. Like if I buy a lot of, I mean, I've kind of delved into other Doctors with Big Finish. I think that's probably the best example, to be honest. But I
Hmm.
focus a lot on Unit and that kind
Nice.
of Ingrid Oliver, Kate Stewart, James Joyce, that kind of group. So I've always been trying to get them. But
Hmm.
I also have a thing to the Eighth Doctor and the Ninth Doctor. But then
Yay!
if somebody
I
was
love the Eighth Doctor.
to go and buy me, I should say Stranded then, because you put the Eighth Doctor in my head. But if someone was to go and buy me something from the first Doctor, I wouldn't necessarily
Yeah.
hate it, but it would be a
Yeah. Yeah.
bit weird bit in the collection. It's like, okay, so I've got this first Doctor one as well. So
Right.
I think you kind of got to be careful what people are into with Doctor Who. Not just Doctor Who, but like Star Wars. Like if somebody was to buy me things from the Clone Wars, I'd be like, okay, I've seen Clone Wars.
Hmm.
Um, so it's probably not the best example, but as a child, like I was like, oh, I like Star Wars, but I liked the original trilogy. I didn't like the
Yeah.
prequels because my dad didn't like the prequels, and I still don't, to be honest, that
You're
much.
gonna hate this, but as kids growing up, we had, a I think 4 out of the 6 Star Wars movies on DVD. So
I
like we had the original ones, but
It's
like
funny you
the
say that.
one
Yeah,
that we kept watching and went back to time and time again was The Phantom Menace. And we unironically enjoyed that movie. And now it's like, now I feel like I've had a gift in that I got to enjoy it without knowing what the rest of the Star Wars community thought about it. And I don't necessarily disagree, but I always enjoyed it. So I find it hilarious because I think most people would be horrified to
yeah.
think that we had to grow up rewatching. That was the one we watched the most of, because
I
there was the
don't
pod
hate
racing and that
Phantom
was fun.
Menace.
But
I really don't hate it, but it's the only one I fell asleep during. I don't know whether it's just because I had a long day, but
it,
I could not
it's
stay
got
awake during part of that one. I did nearly fall asleep,
it's
and
got
that's
good.
very rare.
It's got great music. I'll give it that. I'll give it
Okay,
that.
it's got Darth Vader, but other than that, it's a bit naff. But I mean, I was gonna say to you that I like last week just bought all
Mhm.
the 6 films, so the first 6, on Blu-ray because
Hey,
like Blu-ray release, which is it kind of reminds me a bit of a collection box set. So
yeah.
I've got a J card on it, but it's like a Blu-ray, like matte, like soft finish kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, and it was the first copy of the Phantom Menace I've ever had because my dad does not like the Phantom Menace so much. So
I
he has Attack of the Clones and he has Revenge of the Sith, but
right.
Phantom Menace he never bought when it came out. Obviously, I wasn't born then. Well, I might have been born during one of them, but initially I was very young, so
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
me. That's him. Um, absolute nerd. But, like to think that he was watching
That's
Lord of the
great.
Rings when they first came out, like
Yeah.
as I was born. Like I think he
Yep.
went. I don't know. I think this might have been my uncle, so his brother. But his brother made him and his now wife watch. Well, I think she was still his wife at the time. Watch the 2 films, so that's like 6 hours of
Hmm.
stuff
Yep.
before they went to the cinema and watched the third one. And
Yep.
my poor mother had to do the same, as well as well, my name comes from a show called Stargate,
Oh,
where they
really?
they
Yeah.
both liked the name Daniel, and that I was chosen to be Daniel
That's
because of it.
amazing.
Because they used to
That's
watch it like
amazing.
at tea time, and I just thought just the virginity oozing from my dad must have been huge. Like just the fact she stayed with him for so long really surprised me.
The,
But
I mean, because that would have been 2003 when Return of the King came out, and 2001, I believe, was The Two Towers, and 1999 would have been Fellowship. So yeah, you
I
wouldn't
did
have been born for
I
Fellowship. You
no,
didn't exist when the
not the
Fellowship
first
came
one,
out.
but I think I was born second one.
Yep. Yep.
I hope you enjoyed our podcast talking about Christmas gifts for Whovians. The second half will be out on the 29th of December, and we're going to be doing a review of the year. But if you can't wait till then, the entire thing is available on various streaming platforms that I have linked in the link tree down in the description. You can find the whole 2-hour thing pretty much uncut there, as well as every episode we've done this year